Let me ask you a question. How are you spending your time? Are you doing things that maybe you shouldn't be doing? Are these things preventing you from getting ahead? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, you can solve these problems by hiring a virtual assistant. So in this video, I'm going to tell you why you should hire a virtual assistant regardless of whether you're a full-time investor or have a full-time W-2 job, doesn't matter. What to outsource, what do you have this person doing, and how to hire this person. Let's get right into it. Number one, why the heck should you hire a virtual assistant? All right, so I have studied this. You know, there are people who have more money than others, but everyone, including billionaires, have exactly the same amount of hours that we all do. Now, yet some people appear to be more successful, more developed, more efficient than others. Now, why is that? And the reason is because some people use their time better than others. Well, so it's a matter of not working harder, but working smarter. And this kind of goes into how can I work smarter and not harder? So here is the question about what you're spending your time. You have to ask yourself three questions. Currently looking at how you spend your time every minute of the day. What is the highest and best use of your time right now? Number two, what is your hourly rate? We're going to explore that. And what do you enjoy doing and what do you maybe not enjoy doing? Also similar, what are you good at and what do you suck at? Sometimes they're very closely related, okay? Now, you should try to outsource anything that is not your highest and best use time, that is less than your hourly rate, and that you don't enjoy doing to a virtual assistant. That is the short answer. Let's talk first about what your highest and best use of your time is as a real estate investor, okay? As a real estate investor, you should be only doing two things: finding deals, raising money. If you're a capital raiser, you're really only doing one thing, which is raising money after you found your 1 or 2 to 3 operators to invest with. But typically as a syndicator, as an active investor, that's what you're doing. Anything else that's outside of that should be outsourced. And even within each of those areas, there's things you can outsource. So if you're looking for deals, the best use of your time is to build relationships with brokers. That is your best use of time. The second best use is analyzing deals and making offers, even though even the analysis part you can potentially even outsource. If you're raising money, the best use of your time is to build relationships with potential investors. That is very difficult, if not possible, nor should you outsource the relationship building with your investors. Now, the administrative parts of this process, for example, scheduling, could be outsourced. Also, third, whether you're a syndicator or a capital raiser, we always now talk about building your platform, which a lot of it is related to creating content. So in order to do that, there are many things that you can outsource. You should not outsource the creation of the content, but you can outsource many, if not all, of the production parts of the content. All right, so that's high level of what you should outsource. Now let's talk about what your hourly rate is. Anything that's below your hourly rate and you don't enjoy doing, you should outsource. So what is your hourly rate? Here's how to figure it out. I'll give you an example. There's different ways to figure this thing out. Certainly one hourly rate is what your current salary is at your job divided by 40 or so hours a week, and out pops an hourly rate. That's a great way to go. Now in the case of real estate, let's check this out. Let's say your first deal is going to be a $2 million purchase price. Let's assume your acquisition fee is 3%, which is $60,000. Okay, that's pretty good. But let's assume that in your first deal you're going to partner with a more experienced syndicator, and you're going to give that person 70%. So you get 30% and you give this, that's a lot. Okay, so 70% you're giving up, that would be 30% of the acquisition fee would be $18,000. Okay, so that's your share of the acquisition fee. So let's say you slave for this deal 10 hours a week, which is a lot when you're a full-time employee. 10 hours a week, you're slaving on this thing for 4 months, and you finally close this deal. That's a total of 160 hours. So you take the $18,000 acquisition fee, you divide by 160 hours, and you get an hourly rate of $113 an hour. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so now you know that you could hire someone at less than that for things you don't enjoy doing, you're not good at, isn't best how you can hire them, which means you can spend more time raising money and finding deals. So that is now the best use of your time. Now we talked about some of the things, but what are some of the things you can use a virtual assistant for? So this is really cool. This is how an assistant can make your life better. And what's even cool about this, I've had conversations with people who aren't even investing, who simply have a W-2 job. Why don't you have an assistant? They're like, what are you talking about? Well, the executives in your company have existence. Yeah. Well, why don't you have one? Well, because the company doesn't provide me with one. What kind of limiting belief is that? If you look at things of what should be your highest and best use of your time and what you can delegate various things of your daily life, all the way from having a personal assistant to a virtual assistant. For example, a personal assistant obviously has to be local, a virtual does not, but a local assistant could do things like pick up dry cleaning. They can get a few items from the grocery store for you. They could even organize events like birthday parties or dinners or anything like that. They could drive your kids around. So again, time is what the value resource is, right? So if you're spending 5 hours of time doing all these things, what if you could pay someone $20 an hour to do those things? That would free you up for 5 hours. That's amazing. 5 hours, I find more deals, make more offers, raise more money. It's a no-brainer. So think about that. Now, if you're employed, you have a W-2. If you're W-2, do you travel? Okay, well, maybe someone can help you travel. Making travel arrangements, it takes a lot of time. The expense reporting takes time after you get back. Oh my gosh. Scheduling meetings, you have client meetings or internal meetings, the scheduling part, the canceling, the confirming, takes so much time. Anything that is repetitive in nature, anything that is administrative and can be taught quickly, you can outsource to a virtual assistant. It's amazing. Now, virtual assistants you can get throughout the entire world. They can be in the Philippines, they can be in Latin America. They are super, super affordable and highly capable and competent. So you don't even have to spend $20 an hour. We'll get back into how to hire one in a second. Now, here's some ideas if you're a syndicator, okay? Specific things. So, deal finding. For example, market research. In our course, The Ultimate Guide to Buying Apartment Buildings with Private Money, we go over methodology for how we can identify the best areas. And let's say you want to research 5 areas. Well, there's a methodology in there. Why don't you give that to a VA and say, I want you to follow this module in Michael's course, and I want you to give me this spreadsheet that he talks about from these 5 reports. Here's how you just follow the instructions. Boom. It's going to take that person probably 3-4 hours, maybe 5 hours to pull that information together on 3 markets. 5 hours you just saved, you're paying someone $5 to $10 an hour. Just saying. For example, another example, researching a list of brokers and property managers in a market. That's cool, right? We teach how to go to LoopNet, how to create a spreadsheet. Well, you can outsource that. You can even outsource light underwriting. So you hire someone with some Excel skills, you take the syndicated deal analyzer, and you give them the video, and you say, hey, when I get a deal in, I want you to get it in this format. So when I get this deal, it's already in a format I'm expecting. So that's some ways on deal finding. Help with investor relations, okay? Once you get more than a handful or 10 investors, when you figure it out, you need to outsource a lot of these things. For example, when you're doing calls with investors, well, scheduling those calls, reminding people to show up for the call, chasing people when they don't come up for the call, okay? That takes time. Mailing thank you gifts or mailing thank you notes. Setting up a webinar. So you're doing a training webinar about passive investing, or you actually have a deal webinar. Chasing investors to sign documents, wire money. All those things can be outsourced. Content creation. We talk a lot about, hey, you've got to build a platform, you've got to put content out there, you have to attract passive investors, you have to engage them. Content creation is key. Well, maybe you can have a VA go out and find 10 really useful articles that a passive investor would care about. Stock market, oil, gold prices, whatever the case may be, and then you can share them with your audience. Or helping you post your own content that you've written or created on your blog, social media, or YouTube. And or scheduling the emails. These are all things that can be learned very quickly. Oftentimes these VAs already have the expertise. All right, so that's what you can do. Now start thinking about these things. Go back in your look at your day. And your day, first of all, number one, should you do it? Yes, no. If not, you should cut it off your list. Can you delegate it? That's the question right now. And then everything else you focus on yourself. Okay, so here's how you're going to hire a virtual assistant. You're going to use a site called Upwork. And I'm going to give you an Upwork is a site that you can use to hire anyone. A web developer, content developer, writer, graphics, anything you can hire on Upwork. Let me give you a quick tour. So here we are in Upwork. You log in. It's a free account. Doesn't cost anything. All right, so for example, you can have different job postings. And you have your active postings, and here's kind of how it works, right? So they even show you right how it works. Post a job to get free quotes, evaluate freelancers and hire, work together, and then invoice them. So Upwork helps you with all of that. It's really, really neat. So for example, here's a job posting I did for executive assistant for online business. And this is kind of what you're going to be doing, right? So you write a job description, and you can pull these off the internet, and you put this thing and you fill out their form, you put out some skills and expertise, and then you post this thing. And once you post it, you can invite freelancers. You can filter it, limit it. You can have only U.S. based, maybe Philippines or Latin America or wherever have you. And then people basically post responses, and they will write a cover letter. You can ask them 3 questions, and you look over this stuff. You can see their star ratings. You can see the past jobs they've done, and then you can bookmark them or favorite them. You can message them, and then you can set up Zoom calls. So it's a perfect way for you to hire virtual assistants or really anything else. Now, if you, and this is quite a bit of work, and sometimes you will hire the person that doesn't work out. My advice is that you hire the person for a simple project that can be done in, say, a week, and if it works out, you give them another project and so on. So if not, you repeat the process. So it can be kind of time intensive, but it doesn't cost a lot of money to do that except for your time. Okay, that person is going to help you a lot down the road. Now, another thing you can do is go to a service that essentially does it for you. It's called Virtual Staff Finder. Virtual Staff Finder is at virtualstafffinder.com, and it's done by a really cool guy. His name is Chris Ducker. Study everything he says. He built this company in the Philippines, and basically what he does is he will take your job requirements and give you 3 high-quality fit people from the Philippines that they've evaluated. And if it doesn't work out, they'll give you another 3. So they do all the work for you. It costs $500. It's really cool service. And if you have a little bit more money, but you don't have time, this is a great service to do. Chris Ducker is also a cool guy to kind of follow. He's written books about being virtual nomads, being a virtual entrepreneur. And this is a great way to do it because, again, it's all about being smart with your time. So there you have it, all right? So the most important hire that you're going to make that changes your life is an assistant. Now you know why you should do it. You know what to give that person, and you know how to hire that person. You have no excuse. Get it done. Hope you like that. Make sure you grab this free ebook that I've written just for you if you haven't done it already, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We put out weekly videos. You don't want to miss it. And hey, check out this other video.